This is where the fun begins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Let's Talk here. And guess what? Today is the 50th anniversary for LucasFilm itself in its entirety, which, of course, we know who the creator of LucasFilm is, and that's George Lucas. And he sure did have a vision. He had a vision to not have corporation, and I think this is kind of ironic, maybe. He had a vision of corporation not being involved in his filmmaking, that he has total say and stuff, and hence we get all the wonderful movies that came out under Lucasfilm, including Indiana Jones and Star Wars. And in 1977 is when the doors opened for such a fantastic fantasy in space. Star Wars, later renamed A New Hope. And so today I have guests here, Miss Martin Muses and Stig Kenobi. So hello, Miss Martin Muses. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. I guess it's an anniversary we didn't know was coming.
Right. And, with that, we have releases of the original lore novels, which was shared on Twitter. And we're going to go ahead and discuss that. And Stig, how are you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello there.
There we go. There we go. And so I'm going to go ahead and before we move on and start discussing these these topics here, those in chat and maybe panel too, and I probably know this with the panel already, but you could still share. Those in chat watching right now, who is your favorite Star Wars character? It could be one from movie and one from EU or just one in general. So go ahead and share that, who your favorite character is in Star Wars. And we have Logan, who popped in here earlier. And then Chris Corkum, who basically popped in. And of course, Miss Martin Muses with her wonderful wave and Rose. And she's also on the panel here. And then Willie Woodward. Hello. Thank you again for joining. Just popped in to say hi, OGs. And thank you so much. Max Anderson. Hello. Thank you for joining us. And this 50th anniversary thing really feels like something they drummed up last minute. It is the anniversary, but I think they could have planned it a bit better and maybe, contributed towards the original trilogy first and, brought out, I don't know what they would do with that, but I get what you're saying. The Sleepy Jedi. Hello, long live the EU. Yes, long live the EU and George Lucas era of Star Wars. And Terminus, man, Disney Lucasfilm is so desperate. Yeah. So today is the anniversary, and I'm going to go ahead and share the banner that they, let me open it up here. There we go. So they have their 50th anniversary banner. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. Let me get to the right screen here. There we go. So here it is. Here is the 50th anniversary, golden anniversary, I guess you could say. And so that's their logo for the 50th anniversary. So we are now in that 50 years of Lucasfilm Limited. And who knew we'd be this far and what we would have now? When it was the 40th year, there was like novels getting ready to be released. That's including Sword of the Jedi. Then, George had the idea of a TV series, Underworld, and then 1313 game, and many other things coming out that got canceled a year later after the buyout. So we
including the Clone Wars.
Yeah, what?
Including the Clone Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
Exactly.
someone's echoing.
Am I echoing? Hello?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, one of you is picking up my voice.
Oh. Let me see here.
It's better now. Hello?
Yeah, you're not echoing anymore.
Yep, it's gone.
All right. Hello? Is now you echoing? Talk again.
Hi.
Mic check. Okay.
It's all good. But to be fair though, the 50th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
is it really though? Because Lucasfilm it's not Lucasfilm anymore since 2012.
Yeah, it would feel like more of a 10-year maybe since the buyout are 9-year? Because it wouldn't fully
No.
be a full anniversary under Disney, right? Because they rebranded the Lucasfilm. Since they
Yeah,
bought it,
it's
they
just-
rebranded it.
It's just a logo, but it sure as hell hasn't been Lucasfilm since Lucas
Mhm.
owned it.
Yeah. And that's a great question. You know, is it really? I think the last full anniversary was the 40th before the buyout
Yes.
under George. And then after that, we are now, they've only had the company for what, 9 years now? So it would be under
Yeah.
10 under Disney.
Mm.
So that's something to think about here. So those in the chat, what do you think about that? And then Man Disney Lucas. Oh, I already read that one. We have Jedi Padawan trailer. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, thank you for jumping in. And Riff, hello, the EU where real Star Wars lives. Yes, George Lucas era. And Chaos Man 17. Hi OG Star Wars. May you remember me about the fanfic comment. Sorry, I'm a little nervous of what you think. I'll have to review that, so we'll discuss that later. Yes, and so there is a good point about that. Under name only, is it just 50th anniversary, or are we just on the 9th anniversary under Disney, and that the true anniversary now is only 40th, and then after George sold it, that really doesn't matter.
It's like 9 years since it died.
Yeah. How about this? It's the 50th minus 9 anniversary.
Yeah, so there's some great points there, and I know that I was watching Twitter this morning and how much someone got triggered off of Stig's comment regarding the Phantom Menace. Like, who's your which you only get to pick one out of the 4. You know, what do you want to pick? And I think it had the Force Awakens, the Phantom Menace, Rogue One, and Solo.
Yeah.
And this Stig surely triggered someone about that, and he's, you know, he really got mad. And I'm, you know, and
Well, I didn't get mad.
no, not you, the person did.
Oh, there was several.
Mhm.
No, I just said, you know, I'm going to pick the Phantom Menace, because, you know, that's the only Star Wars movie on the list,
Mhm.
and I think I'm closing in on 600 likes already. But
Yeah.
There were some upset people there too.
Yeah, because they only can have opinion, but you can't, right?
Yeah, apparently, by sticking with Lucas Star Wars and promoting the EU, you're an elitist hater. So
Yeah.
Even though Lucas himself said in that clip, Laura, I think that you put up, that those 6 movies are the ones with my vision with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
That he considers those his part.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a little hard to watch in that interview, because and then it was a little bit of redeeming as well, because not only did he say like his 6 movies were in his vision, he also said that Star Wars, he lost control, which means that everything that was under him and under his vision are now non-existent right now. So everything we
Also-
see in Star Wars is not Star Wars anymore, according to that.
he said Star Wars, not the sequel trilogy. He said
Yeah.
Star Wars as a whole.
Isn't
Mhm.
it telling too that he didn't mention the Clone Wars?
Mhm.
He just mentioned the 6 movies.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, if Star Wars is really a part of his 6 movies, he would have said the 6 movies and the Clone Wars. And I think you know, people don't realize that they are still a part of EU, yes, but you know, with the T canon or whatever, that's debatable on if, you know, they're just appeasing you know, Filoni, and just said, okay, we'll just give him a separate tier or what. We don't know exactly which way they were going with that television or T tier, you know. We would never know now, because, you know, well, actually we do, because wouldn't the Ewoks movies, the droid, you know, cartoons and all them that George produced would be included in the television, but they're not.
Yeah, but they were written as one-offs.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 80s. So it's like the Marvel comics.
Yeah, so they'd be like S canon kind of in a sense.
Yeah.
Or in. But still, my point is like, okay, so if you want to, you know, properly group these tiers or these things, then why isn't these elements in there, including Clone Wars 03? And now they're called vintage on their platform, Disney Plus.
Vintage, which means it's more valuable than new shit.
Exactly.
If you want to go down that road, yes, I get it, because everybody wants to collect vintage stuff, right? Because that has more value, and that has more I wouldn't say nostalgia, but it has more worth to the person who's consuming it, purchasing it, or what have you, more so than anything else. So,
It's very interesting how in real time we are seeing them trying to reframe and rebrand. I don't ever remember thinking vintage Star Wars. That was never a part of anyone's lingo.
No.
I've seen it.
When?
The vintage Kenner figures.
Oh, I mean, maybe with toys, maybe.
No.
But not like like novels or series, like TV series, whether they're cartoons or what have you.
I think one of the toy collections are actually called Vintage by name.
Oh yeah, and speaking of vintage toys, Stieg burning a Vader, threatening to burn a Vader.
Oh, that was so stupid.
Harasses would make it's basically considered harassment.
Yeah,
even though it was a joke.
How could you not see that as a joke, though? I said Del Rey was saying they had no plans of releasing any new Legends stuff. Yeah. And I said, make plans, or I'll melt a vintage Darth Vader figure and blame it on you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
One of the it's one of those. She writes for that site, the female Star Wars thing.
Yeah, the Stardust Project or whatever.
Yeah. It was one of those, and she was going at me saying, there's a bigger chance of them actually doing Legend stuff if I stop harassing them like that.
Yeah,
something like that. And I'm like, that's not harassment. That was I mean, let's say I go through with it, right? I have a vintage Vader and I melt it. And what's that going to achieve? It's only going to achieve that I have a little puddle of melted plastic.
Exactly.
That you made a toxic little atmosphere in your house, and now probably you're going to breathe the fumes caused by that. But is anybody harmed from that? No. Is LucasFilm harmed from that? No. Is the person complaining of harassment going to be harmed from it? No.
Yeah, and if I had a vintage Vader, of course I wouldn't burn it.
Yeah.
No. You'd be insane to burn it. They keep saying harassment. I don't think it means what they think it means.
Harassment and toxic are they're the keywords.
It's no harassment to burn a toy in my own home.
Yeah.
Or joke about it.
Yeah. Because it doesn't cause any harm to anybody else other than you just wasting money on burning a vintage figurine. That's all.
Yeah, but that's the site though that keeps saying everyone's harassing them when they disagree with them. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they told people to basically false flag Star Wars Girls channel, and one of them said, don't watch it, just flag it. I mean, that's dishonest as hell. It's like, don't listen to what she has to say.
Yeah,
just flag it, and that's like cutting someone's tongue out.
Yeah,
and not just that. That actually, one could argue, might be a form of harassment or intimidation, because false flagging has the possibility of destroying somebody's livelihood.
Yeah. Burning toys doesn't do that, but leading a campaign of with basically the equivalent of torches going after someone, on the internet, leading a campaign to shut someone up for their opinion and stuff, and calling out someone's BS, or what have you, whatever. Now that is harm. That is toxic. That is harassment. So people don't realize the difference in, sarcasm jokes versus harassment and toxic actions. And
they've been saying that, women aren't invited to like Star Wars and all that stuff. and then they want to close the channel of someone named Star Wars Girl. I mean,
Yeah.
just her name shoots down their whole narrative.
Mm-hmm. And
I wondered. Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I wonder though, is it that they don't understand the meaning of the word, or is they very well know and are using it as an excuse?
It's both.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and the thing is like they want all women to have a voice and feel safe in the Star Wars fandom. Yet they do this to her, and yet they write an article campaign. The founder writes that article campaign. I didn't go in and read it yet. I did see like cut and paste of people sharing like this is bullshit kind of deal from her article. And as a female Star Wars fan, my whole entire life, and being in a family that has mostly females in my family, loving Star Trek or Star Wars, we never felt like we were out of place, that we could not like what we liked, or that if someone like a male fan, said, hey, well, you're a Star Wars fan. Okay, so what's your favorite character? Being questioned about knowledge. I took that as, oh yeah, let's discuss Star Wars. That's an opening to discuss. That's not harassment. And yes, there are bullies that will tease you now and then about whatever you like. That's common throughout the board. Like if you like to jump rope, some people will say shit about you if they don't like you, whatever. That's just common bully. Doesn't mean anything that they don't want you to be a Star Wars fan, because basically they're not a Star Wars fan. Yeah. They're just being cruel.
And they're divorced from reality, because girls like me, who was a Star Wars fan like you from the very beginning, when a dude found out that a girl, loved Star Wars,
yeah,
it was like instant girlfriend, instant boyfriend. You know what I mean? It was like they were more than thrilled.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I found a girl. I found someone to date who likes Star Wars. Yay. It was never, oh my gosh, go away. It's only for boys. It was the best pickup line ever. I'm a girl and I like Star Wars.
Ding, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
And they keep playing the victim, like the people are being elitist and all that. But basically, she's inviting herself into someone's home, right, to talk about a subject. And if she's clueless about that subject and doesn't know a damn thing, everyone who points it out is toxic. It's like, hi, I'm a Star Wars fan. I don't know shit about it. You have to let me stay and hang out. Which is basically, it's kind of like inviting yourself to someone's private, someone's party at their home.
Yeah.
And then demand that they make a different kind of food just for her.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's that Project Stardust doesn't represent all female fans of Star Wars. I definitely do not like playing or seeing people or myself playing victim. I am not a victim of someone who may not agree with me for liking what I like. I do get a lot of like, oh, you're one of those EU fans and blah, blah, blah. I do get that. Doesn't mean I'm going to go cry victimhood and run to the corner or to a safe space. I'm like, kiss my ass. I'm going to continue what I like, whether you like it or not. You need to move on, kind of deal. And this is what the problem is with these women. Instead of creating power for themselves, they're creating a safe space to cry and be victims. So you can either be a victim of a circumstance that either delusional or you don't want to get rid of and don't want to move past, or you can go ahead and take, pick yourself up, move on, like what you like, and don't give anybody power. They are giving people power over them because they like the victimhood.
Yeah. And
or rather, they found that victimhood profits them, because I never even heard of these people until they started doing this. But somebody picked them up. Somebody boosted what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's weird though if someone's that big of a fan of Star Wars, right? How come they don't know Star Wars? I mean, you learn so much about it just by being a fan. And
yeah.
I mean, I've had conversations with Mara, and she's a huge Tolkien fan, right?
Yeah.
And she knows Tolkien.
Yeah.
Because she's read it, she's watched the movies for ages, she knows a hell of a lot about it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just show up and say, hey, I like the Lord of the Rings. And then you ask, well, what do you think of Gollum? And she'll go, who's Gollum?
Gollum, yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Though I want to also be clear, it's not like if you don't know everything about Star Wars or the EU or the whole lore.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody get judgmental about that, because usually as Star Wars fans, we're like evangelicals sharing the gospel. It's like, oh, let me tell you about this. You're going to love this story. It's the entitled attitude, like Steek said. It's the entitled attitude of coming in and not wanting to be a part of the community, but wanting to judge and change it.
Mhm.
Yeah, or rather they show up and go, hi, I want to be a Star Wars fan, but we need to change it to cater to me.
Oh God, yeah, and that was the talk the last couple of days because of the, the awareness of trans people thing. And mind you, I don't care what you do about your sexuality; it's none of my business. It never has been. I have a couple of friends who are transitioning. They don't require me, and they do use pronouns, but they don't get mad if I don't use the pronoun or whatever. They're very respectful about me, and I'm very respectful about them. That's how it should be. And I don't mind having this awareness. There needs to be education, right? But when you force it down someone's throat in an IP, a fantasy that it really never belonged in a sense, story wise, yeah, that sexuality was secondary or third to the character. It was never the focus.
No.
And that was the whole point of that. It was never the focus, but yes, Star Wars pre-Disney did have a lot of representation, and that includes sexuality, but it was never the focus.
No, because it's more classical stories in a sense.
Mhm.
So whenever sexuality comes into play in Star Wars, it's through a romance plot,
Mhm.
which is usually to get one of the, to make a family last longer because they need a kid,
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we don't
You need
give
another
the
solo.
sexual.
One of them
Mhm.
died.
Yeah. We know that they had to have sex to have kids, unless that's something George wanted to make different, but he never approached it. Get it? So he never approached like sex scenes to prove that this person is this and that and this. Although we do need procreation for the lore to live on, and different species procreate in different ways, but we were never shown it, and that's the point. It didn't matter. And with having two Jedi twins that are transitioning and non-binary, you know what, Jedi, that's a form of attachment, focusing on your gender.
Yeah.
Actually, yes. But
Mhm.
more often than not, though,
Mhm.
that I've noticed on Twitter, when someone gets, when someone attacks EU fans, right?
Yeah.
Rarely is it women. It's way more often it's men that
Mhm.
has a YouTube channel or a podcast.
Yeah.
And I think it's a defensive reaction, because as soon as stuff like this gets mentioned and stuff, they're like, oh shit, my 10 last videos are full of shit. People are going to see it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it as a threat. Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like
But
a
I can tell
doubling
you,
down of sorts.
Oh my God, yeah.
I can almost be certain, though, what George did not intend to happen is to make Star Wars a different version every other year of "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret."
Mhm.
And they even started doing that with adding periods to it. It's like, yes, those were the kind of books like that had their point. Yeah. Or if for those that don't know, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. It's about a girl, 12, and she's starting to get her period. Okay, we all read it as teens and tweens, but
Mhm.
that's not Star Wars. You
Oh,
know
they
what you're
have it
going
in
to get
Star
when you
Wars
read
now.
Judy Blume.
They have it in Star Wars now.
That's the
Yeah.
point I'm saying is, and that's not what George wanted. And so they're trying to shoehorn that stuff into different literature. There is literature out there like that. There
Yeah.
is young adult literature. There's adult literature about that. But that's not part of the genre. It's not part of what it is. If I want to read about menstruation, like I said, I'll go read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret again. Why
Yeah.
not?
It's like one of them, looked at Star Wars and went, oh, bloodline is important. It's probably a period. So they
Yeah.
wrote about periods.
Oh God. Oh my God. All right. Thank you, Larry. I have a new member, and thank you for becoming a member of my channel. I totally appreciate that. And thank you for your support. Yeah, Star Wars never was about the the basic function of bodies, whether it was like sexuality, periods, reproduction. None of that was a part of the lore. Yes, we did see the product of procreation, like new generations coming, but the happenstances of it never occurred. And so to me, it's kind of like these people want to have a virtual or a woke, I wouldn't say woke, maybe woke kind of porn. That's what I'm guessing with Star Wars, because they want that representation so much. They're willing to have, kissing scenes, which we do have kissing scenes in the lore. That's fine. We see it with between Han and Leia, but then, they want characters to have sex and they want them to have that kind. And that part was never a part of it.
That Padme book where they teach her about, menstruation and stuff.
Yeah.
Technically, that's a period piece.
How old is she in there? Because when we see Padme, she's 14. She should already, according to human standards on Earth, should already be developed.
Oh, I think she's like 12. So you have someone talking to a 12-year-old in a Star Wars book about how the period works.
Yeah.
And I think it had something also to do with something as mundane as, oh, you need to make sure she has a pad with her while she's out on this, or she ran out. And it's like, yes, we've all been there, but we don't talk about it. And we sure as hell don't put it in our books.
You would think, okay, so if they're doing that, and I'm just going to roll with the story, okay? Just for the sake of this conversation. You would think with the technology they have during that time in a galaxy far away, and their technological advance compared to us in that fantasy, that they wouldn't be carrying around a friggin' pad.
It's an adventure story, and it's not educational. It's like a space soap opera, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the movies don't even explain how a hyperdrive actually works. So why the hell would we need to know how a period works?
Gave us. Yeah, they can't keep continuity with hyperspace and hyperdrives and stuff, but let's keep continuity with the period, sexuality and periods of our time in that time frame, in that fantasy, Yeah,
I look forward to the next novel where they have Padme and Anakin spending 10 pages talking about birth control. I mean, it's like, okay. Yeah, married couples probably talk about that, but this is Star Wars. Ridiculous.
There's wait, what?
Things going on. I mean,
Yeah. So this is what we have now that we're approaching the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm Limited. Like we said, George Lucas said he lost control. It didn't go the way he expected it. And that says a lot. I still, even though the man changes his mind, or contradicts himself from past quotes, his company basically, kept track of everything and was consistent with everything, and also spoke in his behalf. Because he wasn't fully in charge of continuity. He wasn't in charge of maintaining the lore. He was in charge of, making sure, he approved everything. They made sure it kept continuity. He was the filmmaking part of the department and the overall creator. And he had a lot on his plate because he didn't only produce Star Wars. He produced other things as well. So, so when people say, oh, well, he never said, it was canon to Star Wars or canon to lore or canon to the movies, people don't realize that, he had a department that maintained continuity and made sure everything stayed in canon continuity with the movies and stuff. It wasn't his job to do that. So, yeah, I can understand him, saying, well, it's not a part of what I was doing with the movies, because it wasn't. He hired people to expand on him.
Yeah, and he put EU stuff in the movies. EU stuff that was released before the movies were made.
Yeah.
You know, there's at least 3 references to novels in the prequels, and a bunch of comics. I mean, he put stuff from a video game into video game / comic / a novel, but into the special editions. You know, you see Dash Rendar's ship in there, and you see Prince Zizor at the pod race.
Yeah.
You know, so clearly he cared, and if it's in the movie, then it's canon. You know, even Disney canon, because they said the movies were canon. So okay, Dash Rendar's ship is in there, and so is Zizor. So you know, Shadows of the Empire has to be canon then.
Yeah, well, you know how they cherry pick from that. It's only canon up to what they deem canon, basically. So Vertical Horizons, they literally are announcing the sexuality of Iraq, Leox, Gaiasi, and the trans uncle Fester in the High Republic that looks like a geared towards a young audience.
By young audience, you mean retarded? But yeah, and they changed Lando.
Yeah, they did. They changed. Well, they basically changed every single classical character that came from the movies.
Yeah. And the ones that they didn't change fundamentally in that area, they made them losers and failures.
Yeah, they had Han Solo abandon his kid and wife, and then he stole Luke's medal from, you know, the one he got from blowing up the Death Star. He stole that one and sold it for booze. So yeah, thank you, Disney. That's not Han Solo.
Yeah, and Jedi Luke, you know, like, and he has a point, and I think we stated this in the beginning. Even though Lucasfilm ended pretty much in 2012, it is good to celebrate it as it was when it was alive, and that's what we're getting to. You know, we are here, and we are still fans because we loved what came before. So,
yeah, and I guess with the release of those 3 EU novels, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at all. I mean, you can get them on eBay, right? But they're used. So if you want a brand new novel, you know, you're now getting the option for that at least.
Yeah, and we'll get to that right now. So this is perfect segue. So I'm going to go ahead and get to these comments here, and then we will move on to the next topic. Holocron Library Fox, it's about power. They stop somewhere on their way to grow up and feel powerless in aspects they envy in others. The sex on the ruins of their others' work is them trying to get this power the easy way. Kind of like the dark side. They're gone to the dark side. The dark way.
I actually saw one guy comment on that Project Stardust lady's Twitter.
Yeah.
Basically, he was saying that he's a furry.
Yes.
And he was thanking her for being accepted and being catered to. I mean, yeah, you're catering to furries. I mean, that's how, you know. No disrespect to furries, okay? They can shag however they want. But you don't have to drag that into, you know, Star Wars.
Yeah.
At first, I thought that person was actually joking, by the way, because...
No, not joking.
No, he's not. He wasn't. I was like, holy crap, because I was investigating that, and I was like, oh, and I shared it with Stig. But I was like, he's a furry. First of all, I don't go and search for people in the fandom that are like me, you know, are have the same sexuality as me or what have you. I don't do that. I connect with everybody for the love and like of Star Wars, you know, characters, what have you, the lore or whatever. And I geek out on that. I could care less your skin color, your sexual preference, who you're shagging, any of that. I can care less. You know, that's none of my business other than, you know, let's, you know, create a bond, I guess you could say, under our love of Star Wars.
Your lives are not that exciting.
Exactly. And, So to go in and say I'm a furry and so they accepted me because no one else in the fandom has accepted me. Pretty much everybody in the fandom doesn't care if you're a furry or not. And that's not a factor of being a part of the fandom. The fandom basically is if you love Star Wars, that's it. Whether you're a casual fan and only the movies or only the games in the movies or what have you.
If you think about it, it's pure narcissism though, because the furry person wants Star Wars to change to fit his own personal sexual needs.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, because he has to have it in front of his eyes all the time. And that's why I go back to the thing of like porn. They want it to be porn.
I mean, I'm currently watching Black Sails. It's one of my favorite shows, and I'm rewatching it. Yeah. The main character in it, who is Captain Flint, he's the best character easily, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's gay. I never asked anyone to change him into being straight.
Yeah. Because that's your
perfectly. He's gay. So what? Awesome character, right?
Yeah.
But my own sexuality doesn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Why is it difficult to enjoy a story about someone who has a different sexuality?
Yeah. I mean, for crying out loud, you're able to enjoy Black Sails and you're not a pirate.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's in there as part of the story, though. It's part of the character's background and all that. And it was in there from the get-go when the actor read the script.
Yeah.
It's not revealed until season 2, but it was always there. But it was character first, always. But with Star Wars now, it's like they just need to cater to every sexuality, and they just create the other stuff around that, which is the opposite way of what it should be, right?
Yeah.
Which is why they're creating these characters just to have a virtue signal.
Yeah. Which is why the characters are bad, because they're not characters; they're props.
Yeah, that's they're props to appease people who want to see fans they can relate to, because I can't relate to them in their human as human and their journey. They have to relate to them with skin color, that includes race or whatever, and gender, sexual preference. And I think that's really a shallow way to go, because if you can't relate to anybody based upon their humanity and what they've gone through and stuff like that, and only through skin color and stuff, then I think there's something you have to go and look deep within yourself, because you're stereotyping, you're implying racism, you're implying sexism. No way can one IP cater to everybody with main characters being just like them, because that's impossible. And so no one's going to be satisfied. No one's going to be satisfied.
I mean, how many Asians are there in the world, right? Way more than Norwegians. I mean, there's about 5 million of us, and we don't get represented at all. You don't see a superhero that's Norwegian.
Yeah,
unless you count Thor, and that's not exactly correct.
No, because he's an alien in the Marvel. He's an alien. Yeah. But we don't whine about not being represented. I mean, sure, we're white, but that's not what we are. It's a culture, A person from Poland isn't the same as a person from I don't know, Texas.
Yeah, and that's just like with natives. They coin us stereotypically as the plains looking with the war bonnet and all that. No, it's not true. And I can even distinguish facial features from tribe to tribe. I can look at someone and say, "Oh yeah, you're Navajo," and be right. Oh yeah, you're Salish from the Northwest, and be right. And so people think they just lump without thinking or anything. And we have George Hilton here. As much as I enjoyed the Star Wars EU, George Lucas constantly contradicted what was written in the books once the PT was being made. His baby, hard to argue with that, but to be honest, I think he honored more so than contradicted. Honestly, I do.
He did mess up the Dark Empire, but that was written as a one-off anyway.
And it was written before the PT.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and they didn't think they would make more Star Wars movies, and neither did George,
Mhm.
actually, because he didn't think he'd get enough money for it. But then the EU, all of that stuff sold like hell, so all of a sudden you had a lot of money and you could
Yeah.
make them.
Yeah. And then Robotic Pope, there was a person that was in the scene in the Phantom Menace that gave the idea of Voss. So it wasn't really Voss. It gave the idea of Voss, and then they took it from there. So Voss as a character came from the EU first. He was inspired by a glimpse of a character that was sitting in the background. That's it. So I mean, it's kind of that's what was explained about that character when Voss was made. So yeah. And then Holocron, yeah, exactly. The dark side is real. It's Lucas implementing real spiritual knowledge in his work. It's a manual how to discern and enlighten the darkness. That's why we as Lucas apprentices, and I think he's going on here. I don't know where it's at. Here we go. Are under fire as strongly. Yeah, people fail to realize that Star Wars is built upon mythologies, and then themes are taken from George and or actually from our world experiences through politics and stuff to help build that foundation. They weren't inserting our politics in the foundation. They used it as themes to help build the world, so we can relate to it easier.
Yeah, and they were universal archetypes as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and segue into the next one here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down. And if you guys see any comments that you want to expand on with the chat, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the next the books that we're going to talk about here. So many of you guys may have noticed that new books are being re-released. So here it is. I just don't want to share everything on my screen. And so we have these 3 books that are being re-released and re-envisioned into what they want it to look like now. And so we have Heir to the Empire. We have the first of Bane trilogy, Path of Destruction, and then we have Shatterpoint. And so this is what's going on, and this came out just in time for the 50th anniversary. So do you have anything to say about that, Teresa and Stig?
Well, my first thought is it's the 50th anniversary of LucasFilm, so we're going to do commemorative editions of EU books we've decanonized that didn't come out till 1991.
Yeah. Basically, Shatterpoint, I think it was like in early 2000s. Path of Destruction, I don't remember the date, but it was after Heir to the Empire. So Thrawn trilogy was basically what reopened the EU and started, with this continuity path for the expanded universe. So many people like to coin it as the sequel trilogy portion. If it was ever to be used post Return of the Jedi, it would be envisioned as the sequel trilogy. Myself, I get what they're saying because it's a great story. But to me, the sequel trilogy is about the grandkids, right? So that to me would be after Crucible, when the torch is being handed down to Jaina and Ben. And I believe George was going that way.
Well, yeah, but if you think about it, all 3 of these books or stories are stories that Dave Filoni have already pissed on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they already pissed on too, because they've already done away with the rule of 2.
Yep, the rule of 2. They've done away with turned Thrawn into Gargamel, as Steve always says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he is, because Thrawn on Rebels is borderline retarded, because he leaves obvious escape routes for the rebels all the time, and they take those escape routes, and he gets pissed.
Yeah. Thrawn would always be about 10 steps ahead of people, not 10 steps behind.
Exactly. And so here we have this. We have Thrawn. We're going to go through each book here. So again, and they made this into a larger book here. And what was it? I forgot the exact name of they called it. The style of novelization, or the
trade paperbacks.
There we go. Trade paperback.
They're about as tall as a hardcover.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So trade paperbacks, they blocked all the information to the top. Classic Star Wars, you had the raised foil Star Wars emblem, which I think is gorgeous. And then it may have a little bit of information below that. And then at the very bottom, more information. And then you have the art. You know, some American art for Star Wars wasn't as very appealing. But when you looked at the book, it's told the story, right? You looked at it and you had an idea who was involved and maybe, you know, where it was taking place at, maybe. And so you had the little glimpse of the story on the cover, which caught your eye. And but when you look at these ones here, you only see Thrawn here, and you can tell they drawn the Thrawn in that is in canon. So he has these little raised lumps on the top of his forehead above his eyebrow. You can already see that. And then you have the pupils and stuff. The original Thrawn didn't have this new characteristics in his face and eyes. So we have that. And then I pointed this out last night. So we have Luke in front of it, and you know, he is basically highlighted by the color of his saber here. So we have a near black silhouette of Luke, classical to A New Hope, right? You know, with him with a raised lightsaber. You know, classical to that, classical to the OT. But the thing is, Thrawn and Luke never met.
Nope.
Never met. So I'd rather see, you know, the main characters in the story, the three, Thrawn, maybe an Ogre or whatever, in front of the book.
Yep.
This implies that Luke and Thrawn had some kind of, relationship with each other, which not really. Thrawn wanted him to give to Sabayoth. If you haven't read it, I'm spoiling it and I don't care. You should have read it already. Usually everybody has already. So Thrawn wanted Luke to give to Sabayoth. You know, Sabayoth was even on the cover of one of them.
Yeah, and you know, them getting Thrawn's eyes wrong though on the cover.
Yeah,
I think that's an honest mistake.
Yeah,
I think the artist probably just looked up pictures of Thrawn and accidentally looked at Disney Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, someone should have caught it.
Well, that's what I was about ready to say. It's the artist's job to give the vision of the person that commissioned it, and the person that did so should have caught it and changed it, or rather, the person who commissioned it told the person, I want Thrawn to look like this. And the reasoning is they wanted to condition us that the Disney Thrawn is Thrawn.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and research this within the next couple of days, and I'll share it on Twitter and maybe on my community portion of my YouTube channel. But I'm going to research this image of Thrawn and to see if it was a cut and paste. And you can textualize it. You can, through any type of Photoshop applications, you can, add texture and stuff. So I'm going to see if this image of him has been used before, because you even have the suggested raised little nodes on top of his eyelashes. Right here, you can tell.
You could always message the artist.
Yeah.
They usually have websites and stuff, and just ask,
Yeah. And here we have Darth Bane. And this one here is more of a stylized work. I did a similar work in my painting to where, it's a Native American type painting. And in the background, we have it looks like the paint kind of is running down on the side, but there's a reason why I did that, to show that the women were the blood and the keepers of the tribe and stuff. So there was a reason why. Looking at this, and looking at the original Darth Bane book, I prefer the original Darth Bane book over this. His face looks too sunken in. It's not as masculine and as round and muscular as the original. I think that this is a bad rendition of him as well. And it's very idealistic. It's very contemporary art right here.
It doesn't scream Star Wars at all, though.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like some, indie comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or something like that. Because if I just saw that picture,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't think that was Star Wars at all.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think it's Bane.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
looks kind of like that old vampire one that I can never pronounce that starts with the N. That image.
Oh my
You know what
God.
it looks
Nefrostrastra
like?
2.
It looks like the Crow.
Oh, I
Mhm.
haven't seen that in a while. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, around the eyes and stuff.
Yeah. And they did the eyes pure yellow, but we know the eyes, it's yellow and then it has an orange red, around it. So, I mean, I'm being picky. That's nitpicking right there, but that's just me as an artist. If you're gonna portray, if you're gonna show us Sith eyes, do it correctly. At least give that point across. So even if we can't recognize the character fully, at least give us that part, that like, oh, this is the Sith. Okay, this could be Bane, but this right here, I mean, yeah, this is stylistic type of art. It looks like to me, and I said this last night, it looks like someone got frustrated with their charcoal drawing and smeared their fingers down it. So that's how I see it. And, so whatever purpose this is, stylization, I don't know. I think they could have done a lot better to get the message across that this is Darth Bane.
Or Star Wars.
There we go. Our Star Wars. And then, of course, then we finally have this here. We have Shatterpoint here.
Which has a very, very, very good cover.
Yeah, this one is probably the best out of the three. It does get to the point in a sense, but Shatterpoint also doesn't pertain to shattering glass as well. But we do know that glass was shattered in Return of the Jedi, and he went out the window. This has nothing to do with it. This book has nothing to do with it. Shatterpoint is basically looking inside someone or even an object and seeing those points that are fragile.
Yeah, I mentioned this last night that I am distracted though by what's on the bottom left. It just catches my eye in a way that I'm not sure that it should.
Oh, that little blob, huh?
Yeah, it looks like a big blob, and I'm like, what is that? And looking closer.
Mm-hmm.
But at least it does look like Star Wars, for crying out loud. It's a character we recognize, and
that's
I'm just gonna say it. It's a cum shot. It's called Splatterpoint.
Oh my God. I heard his giggle. I'm just going to say it. You're into trouble with Stig when he giggles like that.
Oh, no.
Someone really likes the window and just,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm curious, once these come out, I'm not purchasing them because I don't need them in my collection. I already have them in my collection. But I'm going to go and review them at the bookstore. Shatterpoint the prologue is written by George Lucas. And and you notice like on some of the covers of Shatterpoint, it does announce that the prologue is written by George Lucas. This one doesn't. So I'm curious if they have any homage paid to George Lucas about the prologue. Matt Stover met with George Lucas about Shatterpoint as well as Revenge of the Sith. And he also took some information and questions Luciano had regarding his novels like Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader, and Labyrinth of Evil. So these books right here that I'm mentioning did have, George Lucas involved in the creation of them. So I'm curious to see if Disney Lucasfilm is even going to pay homage to George, or are they going to keep this covered up because they don't want us, fans, they don't want to pay credit to us fan for bringing this up because they want everybody to believe that George didn't care for the EU.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be doing that research. And so this is very good art. I'm curious to see if this is like a pose from the movies or something of him. So I'm going to look at yeah, because usually that's what they're good at, is cut and pasting if they don't get the art right.
Well, to be fair, the EU books did that too. A lot of them.
Well, I know.
Like little Han Solos from the movies and.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just curious as well because they could have done a lot better. I like the original Shatterpoint because you have Depa in the background there, and she does go through some trials to even nearly killing herself. So a great story to read. People don't like it being in first person. There's points in there that's first person, but it's a good story.
Yeah, his apprentice tried to kill. She's basically brain dead.
Yeah.
And that happens before Filoni used her in the Clone Wars and Rebels. So he didn't even. And since George worked on this, he didn't even pay attention to George.
Yeah.
No.
Because she should have never been Kanan's, master or whatever.
Yeah. All
Should
right.
have, well, given how dumb Kanan is, it makes sense that he had a brain dead master. But
yeah. And so how do you guys feel about this re-release? Because we always want new content for EU, or at least them publishing them, right? So are you guys like on the fence about this? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are meh for several reasons. I'm just too daggone cynical anymore about anything that they do, and it feels like it came out of nowhere, and it feels like it's subpar.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to buy them. Why should I buy them? I've already have them. I've read them for a very long time. And what is my incentive? What is my incentive to get these, especially since they only have the first of the trilogy for 2 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did say they would do the rest. The rest is in August, I think. Well, or rather the next batch.
Yeah.
Well, that's implying then that they're a collector's item that I would want or someone would want. And I don't think there's anything that makes me go, oh my gosh, I need to get this to add to my collection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're $16 each. A brand new paperback, a regular paperback, is $8. So it's twice the size, but they're still trade paperbacks. And I mean, I actually did some checking, or to compare and contrast.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones hardcovers that are illustrated, gorgeous books, big hardcovers with 20 to 30 full-page illustrations.
Yeah.
They're about $24.
Mm.
So $24 for that, but a cheap trade paperback is $16.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had done these in hardcovers, oh yes, would have been great. But who doesn't have these in paperbacks already?
Mm-hmm.
Precisely.
And if you're lucky, you can find the hardcovers on eBay, right? For these books, I think Toriel got the Thrawn trilogy for $5 each in hardcover.
Yeah, that's a great deal too. That's an awesome deal. And so Chaos Man, I said this last night, we all agreed that the foreign covers or the Japanese covers were the best. Especially for New Jedi Order. Man, their covers for that were amazing. And it's, you can see those cartoon or those illustrations being used whenever we discuss like the family in New Jedi Order, with Jaina and Jason and all them, and used. It's brilliant. It's great illustration there. So we have this here. As Lucasfilm celebrates its 50th anniversary, we are curating a collection of essential #Star Wars Legends novels in trade paperback. So these are due on the 15th. So in the chat, who are you guys going to run out and buy them? Then we have we plan to add more classic Legends book. So that's the thing, is classic. So what do they feel is going to be worthy to reprint? That's my question. I am going to keep an eye on this to see what novels they feel are worthy to reprint. Because they're not even paying Ellen Dean Foster for, his royalties for his books.
Well, that's probably why they changed the cover art for these books too, so they don't have to pay the old artists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they also, well, if they had a good contract, they would also get royalties for the ebook covers as well.
Yeah.
On Audible. So it's going to be interesting to see if the audiobooks, the covers on the audiobooks on Audible change to these covers as well.
Yeah.
Because if they do, they're doing it to save money.
Yeah. And then so here is, let's zoom out a little bit here. So here is the size that they're, compared to the original, to the trade. So like Stig said, They're bigger. They're basically the size of a hardcover. However, I'd rather spend $16 or less, or even a little bit more, on a hardcover of this novel that has no Legends banner than pay for this novel itself. And here we go. Here's Thrawn's eye here and all this. And, you know, you could tell by his facial features how different it is. So again, it may have been a mistake. However, they should have someone who approves and catches mistakes according to the lore. So I'm curious, and I will do my research on that and report back to everybody on that on Twitter. So this is the difference here. The difference. And
speaking of reprinted faces, Matt Wilkins is in the chat.
Oh, hello, Matt Wilkins. How are you doing? Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh,
Matt Wilkins, are
good
you gonna collect me? Yeah. So we have that here. And again, this newer cover here has Luke and Thrawn on the same thing. But if you put all three of the trilogy together, it does create one big giant image.
I actually didn't know that until I saw a picture of it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. And so they said, we love looking at cover art. I kind of giggle at that. So here's a closer look at the cover from Timothy Zahn's, which we already looked at. Here's a closer look at the stunning cover of Darth Bane, and we already looked at that one. And then again, Shatterpoint. And they are going to, give do Shatterpoint in an unabridged version for Audible.
Which is good.
So, yeah. Narrated by Sullivan Jones. I'm going to see who that is. Let's see here.
I'm not sure who that is at all. But I'm guessing he's probably good, because the people who do audiobooks nowadays are very good.
Yeah. Okay. So remember we were discussing this last night. Like, okay, so they want to keep, gender and race for the characters if they are of person of color and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and I'll share with you guys what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, because The Simpsons, right? So if it's a white man doing the first person stuff for Mace Windu in this book, it's racist.
So here we go. He is the narrator.
Okay.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yep. So we were discussing this, and we didn't really. Huh?
He looks a bit like Cyborg from the Snyder Cut.
Oh.
I find that very interesting, Alora, because we were saying, I'll bet you they did. And then sure enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were just speculating that they were going to get an African-American to do it.
Yeah. So the original narrator for Shatterpoint, which is abridged, the current one is abridged, is Jonathan Davis. And he did a mighty fine, great job at the narration and stuff. But, in recent circumstances where, you have to have characters fully represented by people who are of the same gender, race, or color or whatever, to keep everything politically correct. This is the path that they're going down. Mind you, maybe he is a great narrator. And if he is, good, I'm glad. But the point is like, there's that virtue signaling that's going on. Like everybody has to be of that same, even for a fantasy character, they have to be of the same race, gender, or whatever. So what if you have a character that's an elf? Where the hell are you going to find an elf to narrate?
Yeah.
Our Simpsons, there's no, unless a person's extremely jaundiced, they can't represent the character.
Well, let's just be honest. There's no such thing as a Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to me, that's kind of silly, unless you're doing okay, so who are some of the recent narrators? So we have James Earl Jones, who's narrated before, and who else has,
well, what if they do an audiobook based on the Bible? I mean, you have to be a god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're not God. How dare you?
Oh my God!
You're not St. Paul. He's dead.
Oh my God! So this is the narrator here. So, like I said, I don't know if I want to, get the unabridged. Really, I don't know. When you have this virtual signaling type thing, again, shoved in your face, it kind of makes it less appealing. Now, if I didn't know or whatever, or if this little virtual signaling kind of thing. You have to be the same race, color, whatever of the character that you're gonna narrate, whether cartoon or not or whatever. If they never stated that, then I wouldn't have cared. It's just the thing of like being so politically correct because everybody's friggin' butthurt that now we're having this shoved again in the face. So it makes it less appealing. Just do everything
it's
organic.
not in your face if it's someone reading an audio, though.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying.
I mean,
it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so we were angry at an actor for playing a disabled man, the guy from Breaking Bad. They were, yeah. Yeah. And let's see here. Everybody's saying hello. And here we go. Charlton Heston narrated the Bible. He's close to God.
Yeah, him and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman too. There we go. Morgan Freeman has narrated a lot of things, and he's done commercials and stuff like that. And like I said, I never had a problem. But the thing is like all of a sudden everybody's going to have a problem of, representation, even with cartoon characters, if you're not the same race or whatever.
Want to hear something funny about narrators?
Okay.
A few years ago, there was a new one of those Battlefield games, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Sean Bean was narrating the trailer, or rather the intro to the game, I think.
Uh-huh.
And he died.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, he died in that one too. His plane got shot down over midway.
Oh my god. Oh my
He
god.
didn't even survive a commercial.
Oh my god. Morgan Freeman can narrate the phone book and make it interesting.
Yep.
And the thing is, no one ever got mad at James Earl Jones being the voice of Darth Vader.
No, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm. And that's the point here. It's like, why not invite Jonathan Davis back, since he already did the narration of the full version or of the abridged one? So there we go. So we are
for all we know, it's not even something they even wanted to do, but they thought, oh, the last thing we need is a Twitter mob. Everyone's so afraid of that.
Yeah.
Which, the thing is, as soon as they cater to a Twitter mob, that's when they lose.
Yeah.
Because then they have to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You never give in to a bully.
Nope. Oh, yeah. Because then you invite more bullying and more, and then you give them more power, really. And this is where we're at the point of Disney Star, or like Lucasfilm in general, for the 50th anniversary. And, like I have a lot of conflicting feelings about it. I am grateful for this, for the movies that came out under Lucasfilm, and then the groundbreaking, film studies and stuff that George created, and all the groundbreaking stuff that he envisioned, and that fruitioned in the film industry and stuff. He did make a lot of, progress for the film industry as well under Lucasfilm, and Pixar, before it was named Pixar, that he created that. And then when he sold it off, it was now called Pixar. And so he did a lot of groundbreaking stuff. And I really adore someone like that, who has that focus and that drive and stuff like that, to set, the bar up. Now, can Disney Lucasfilm, or have they stepped into the shoes, the large shoes George created? Did they step into them and honor what he created?
Yeah. Well, and sure, if they wanted to make a big fuss about this 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm, right after it was founded, what was their first thing? American Graffiti, which is a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's amazing.
Yep. So I think that the corporate that took over, now we're not going to have any more groundbreaking, groundbreaking events in filmmaking, because corporations don't seem to do that. It's the individual artist who has that creative freedom, that doesn't have a corporation breathing down their back saying, this is what I want, this is what I need. When it comes to independent filming, like George Lucas did at one point, that's when we have, the development and progress in films and stuff, because they're not being told what to do and stuff. And that was George's whole purpose of not being in Hollywood.
Yep.
Is that he wanted
It's like-
creative control.
Yeah, there's a great quote by G.K. Chesterton, which says he's traveled all over the world and never seen a statue made to a committee.
Exactly. Oh, that goes like with Han and Leia,
I'm not a committee.
Exactly. And that kind of goes with George Lucas in a way, I'm not a committee. Dad Man Walking 55, thank you so much for becoming a member of my channel. This greatly helps, support the content that I'm giving, and that, the panelists that are coming on, with the channel and stuff. It supports us so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm not a committee kind of deal. And that was George. He wasn't a committee. He wasn't a corporation. So there's a little bit of irony with this. He did have a lot of trust. And again, we know that he was betrayed. And so here we are, discussing this. And with Star Wars, again, my love, passion stays with George Lucas era of Star Wars. I am not interested in buying any of the re-releases of these novels with the new art cover. I think that they're boring. There's nothing on the cover that says "read me" at all.
Well, if you read a trade paperback, right, it's way better than to read a regular one. It's more comfortable. It's bigger, but it's not a huge, tome like like the hardcovers can be. But I already have these books in paperback. If I'm to spend money on the Thrawn trilogy, I'm going to get hardcovers.
Yeah, of course.
So but not everyone out there has had the opportunity to get them. So I guess it's a good thing that they're being re-released.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And, people who are so excited about it, basically, like, oh, we got re-releases, blah, 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 blah. So either they haven't read it or they are just excited to add that to their collection, whatever. But, again, like I said, I'm on the fence about this because, I'm not really excited about these re-releases. I can go find them in the original versions, kind of deal. But I'm also excited that people who are now being turned on to the EU will still have material to purchase.
Exactly. And maybe they'll see that and not even realize what it is they're getting and be amazed like all of us were when we first read The Heir to the Empire. So
yeah, exactly.
There is that upside. Absolutely. And my take on it is like, I'm just not going to spend money on that.
Yeah, I'm not either. And I have no point to. If I'm going to buy another version of them, I'd buy the hardcover.
Yep.
Without the logo. And I know Stig is doing that for all his favorite ones. He's purchasing the hardcover of them. So basically,
it's basically what they are doing. I'm getting the essentials, which is the ones that tie into the movies, and the novelizations, and the kind of like the most important books in the EU. I'm trying to get those in hardcovers. For some reason, Kenobi and Plagueis, people are charging an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Because a year and a half ago, you could get Kenobi for $5.
Yeah.
Now it's 45.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is weird.
Yeah. So like I said, we are on, we are entering in a new age, a new phase of Star Wars, and I would say there's Star Wars for everyone, right? We have the EU, George Lucas era. It's very sad that we won't have any continuations of any of them, or even releases of the novels and stuff that were either canceled or near completion, which I would say release those, but just leave EU alone now, because if anything, if we get any new legends or original lore content, it probably will be, with some woke or, propaganda in there as well. So I've rather, and I'm on I used to be continue the EU, but now just in the recent year and a half or two, I'm like, no, I'd rather not have them ruin the feel and everything about what was, of the old EU with current proper, politics, I guess you can say. And so I'm kind of sad but content that that they're not going to do it because I don't want them to ruin it. That's my fear. They're going to, and they're going to instill, gender politics or whatever in there that doesn't belong in there, just so that people can see themselves in Star Wars. It's not about that. My favorite character has always been Luke Skywalker. I didn't relate to him because he looked like me, because he doesn't.
No.
It's the human condition that I related to.
Yeah. And that would be the best possible scenario, that they don't ruin the characters. But then there's the other thing to consider is, will they get quality writers? Will they get good talent? And it'll suck badly too if they don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so we're going to have final thoughts here. We're going to close out, and I'm thanking everybody that has come in to listen and partake in the discussion in the chat. Thank you guys. And for also the new members of the channel, thank you so much. So, Teresa, do you have any final words for the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm and the re-release of novels?
Well, as far as the 50th anniversary of the Lucasfilm, I'd go back to what I was saying about their very first movie, the American Graffiti. If you have not seen that movie, it is amazing. It is a work of art, and it's the first movie for a lot of people that became huge stars. Maybe do that too. After you've seen American Graffiti, watch your favorite Lucasfilm era films, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, all of those. There's joys and there's treasures there. As for these books, I think I've already... Willow. Oh, I love Willow. Yes, Willow. Yeah. There's just tons of things that they did. And that would make you surprised. I went through and looked at all the things that they were responsible for, things I did not realize. So go ahead and enjoy that and celebrate what you love and enjoy things that were great art. We are at a point right now where I don't think we can look ahead, but we can enjoy the past.
Yeah. And rightfully so. So, Stig, do you have any final words about the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm as, filmmaking and such? Because the EU, is built off of the films, but Lucasfilm mainly was about the films, right? And then also the re-releases.
Well, it is a re-release, one of many, but by the looks of it, of EU stories. So I think even if we don't like the covers, they might have some nefarious reasons in there. I think all in all, I think it's a good thing, because it makes those really great books available again. I don't think you can buy a brand new Shatterpoint anywhere at this point, unless you're really lucky. But now it's available for people who haven't read them, and that will make more people hopefully like the EU. Other than that, I don't know. Well, it's something EU being released, so that's a good thing, I think. I think they're overpriced. And I think maybe they might be doing this because the new stuff isn't selling. They've sold a lot of it to stores, yes, but not a lot has been sold from the stores to customers.
No.
And I've been paying attention to their Amazon reviews. And on release day, almost every Star Wars book gets about 500 reviews that are good. It's like clockwork. It's on release day. That's when you can put up reviews, right? Don't tell me that 500 people read it before it came out, or in the day it came out, because that's not possible. So those reviews are not real.
Matt Wilkins, I always imagine Stig smells like half digested okra inside of a dead cat. Your thoughts?
Oh, no.
We are continuing on from last night.
I have a Star Wars fact.
Okay.
You know what the temperature inside a tauntaun is?
Uh-oh.
It's
What is it?
lukewarm. It's lukewarm.
Oh. And there you go, everybody, audience, everybody. That is like, I think I would say that a 10 out of 10. Very good, kind sir. Very good. I like that. All right. So for myself, yes, I agree. I'm on the fence about that. But then again, I do agree that as long as there's reprints or, production continued of the EU original lore, legends, what have you, it's going to keep the interest of fans going for the love of Star Wars. Every day there's more new EU fans. Every day I have people asking me about the EU and where to start, or what's my favorite novel, or just general discussion about it. And so as long as we still get reprints, I'm happy. I may not be happy with the art cover. I may think that, they should just keep, the original art to it, but at least they're reprinting. And with the 50th anniversary, we're celebrating the filmmaking under Lucasfilm. And again, maybe, today put on your favorite Lucasfilm, movie, American Graffiti, start with that. And, without George, of course, we wouldn't have all these groundbreaking film, accomplishments as well. And so he really set that bar up. And again, I don't think Disney, the corporation, could fill those shoes. They haven't yet in my eyes. And
I have a riddle.
What's the riddle? Riddle me this.
Oh, no.
What do you get if you cross Salacious Crumb with Jabba?
What is that?
Matt Wilkins.
Oh, God. Oh my God. So we're going to conclude here. Thank you again, Teresa, Miss Smart Muses, for hopping in and contributing to this discussion here. And thank you again, George Lucas, for giving us some great movies, including Star Wars, which is our love and that we've been talking about mostly here. We have Willow, which I really love. Willow, I'm going to have to dig that one out and watch it today. American Graffiti, Indiana Jones. I mean, there's so many, and of course, Star Wars. And, so I'm happy that we've gotten George Lucas. I'm not too pleased with the current state of Star Wars, but that could be for another time. Thank you again, Stig, for always coming on and being a co-host as well and being on the panel. I appreciate you as well, Mr. Stig Kenobi. And Matt Wilkins, thank you for coming in and making us laugh. And I will have you on here. I should have just invited you in today. I didn't think about that. It's just happened quickly. And thank you guys, everybody, in the chat. Thank you.
Wilkins is yapping again.
He's yapping again? Let's see here.
Oh, boy.
OG Star Wars, are you going to let that scoundrel Stig get away with saying that about me?
Well, he started it.
I'm enjoying your guys' banter. You guys go for it. It's entertainment to me.
Yeah, Matt, get your revenge on the Babylon 5 stream this Tuesday.
That's right. Oh, yeah. You guys go
I
ahead.
have the high ground. He has herpes.
Ooh. So who's all going to be on the panel for that? Go ahead and give that to the audience here, the chat.
Oh, for sure. Over on Open Airlock Policy channel, it's Tim. He's going to be having a Babylon 5 Season 1 stream. Matt Wilkins is going to be on it. I'm going to be on it. Stig, are you planning on joining us?
No, I've only watched 2 episodes of Babylon 5, so I don't know shit about it.
Okay. Well, maybe Stig will troll the chat if he's awake.
No. I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, so I'll be doing that.
Okay.
Okay, so Matt Wilkins, you're safe for another week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a showdown between those two. This is hilarious. Their banter is hilarious, very entertaining. But yeah, so go ahead and check out Open Airlocks on Babylon this Tuesday, you guys. So go over there. I don't know if the link's up yet, so keep aware that we do put up our links earlier, so you can set reminders. As usually we do. And so go and support Open Airlock as well. He has great content. So thank you guys again for tuning in. And I'm glad that we were able to discuss the 50th anniversary and the re-releases. If anybody has any questions about the EU, myself, Stig, and even Miss Smart Muses and other people like Tim and stuff, we can help you out with the EU on how to start, where to begin with what you like, PT, OT, whatever. We're always open up for discussions about the EU as well. And Matt Wilkins. Matt Wilkins is another great channel to go watch. He has, he's ending his review from the EU from start to finish. And so go ahead and go over there and support his channel as well. Thank you guys again for tuning in, and I appreciate everyone's support here. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.